Hello and welcome back, and welcome back to another instrument gear review. Now, I've done quite a few of these recently, and there were a couple of things that I had looked at that took a while to get to me. And I've been waiting quite some time for this one. In the same vein as the passerelle, or the sliding capo, this is another gadget that goes along with the guitar. It is not a guitar itself. So, without further ado, let's get into unboxing this thing. Now, as I said, I waited quite some time for this thing to arrive. Apparently they only make them in small batches, so I had to wait for them to be completed and then for them to ship out to those orders. They did run a sale a while back, which is when I ordered this thing. So let's unbox this and get to looking at it. Got this little box here, and I'll get into what that's for. Got this, and it looks like just a bunch of packing. Now what I got here is the Pickaso guitar bow. Now this is the main piece here, and this little box is rosin. If you haven't guessed by now, this is like a violin bow for your guitar. Let's open this up and take a look. It's nice that it's got a box and it's wrapped up. Looks very well packed. This is a nice hefty box, and it's one of those magnetic ones. It says your guitar can be much more than you think. It says learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist, which is what I'm assuming their name came from, Pickaso being an artist. This is a very lovely leather case here. They sent a sticker. It's like a very, very hefty sticker. I'll have to find a good place for that. You got your quick start guide. It says read before first use. Well, it looks like it's showing you how to rosin the bow. We've got a Pickaso cleaning cloth. Very nice. And then here it is, the bow itself. Now, if you've never seen these things, it's like a violin bow, only it's got horsehair on both sides. And the way that they've designed this is so that it also can be a pick. So it's got a little pick end right here. I went with the blue Tortex, which looks really nice. Looks very well constructed. And it looks like that's all that's in the box, so I'm going to move that to the side here. You know, I'm sure that they are wanting me to rosin the bow first beforehand, but let's give it a try anyway. Let me just go grab my guitar a second. Alright, I got my trusty washburn here. Now, you're supposed to be able to put it right through the strings here. And of course, just like a violin bow, there's no rosin on it, so it's not going to play. But it's also supposed to be a pick, so why don't we try that while we're here. Bit of a thicker pick than I like. And it's really awkward to hold. I'm sure with some getting used to it, it wouldn't be too bad, but even trying to hold it like a regular pick, you've got the rest of the thing lying in your hand here. So I'm going to go ahead and rosin this, and we'll give it a try. Alright, much like playing violin, there is some technique to this. A technique that I never fully learned. So this is going to take some getting used to, but this is a lot of fun to play with. I noticed the wound strings work a little better. If you don't do it just right, you get a really shrill sound from the unwound strings. Like that. But for the lower strings, it rings out pretty well without that shrill one. I find the notes in the middle here to be a little better. But all in all, I think this is a really fun tool and opens up a lot of possibilities. I would have to get very much used to this in order to get some use out of it. As far as the picking part, it does work as a pick. Would I use it as a pick? I mean, only if I'm utilizing this and I need to do both. It's a lot thicker than I like in a pick, as I've stated before, but for all intents and purposes, it does work. So I'm going to go toy around with this and try and come up with something, but you won't see me fumbling through trying to figure this thing out. Now, if you can't tell, quite some time has passed. I have not been able to get back to this, nor have I really been able to practice a whole lot with it. But hopefully that showcases some of the ability of this. I really do like this product, and there's something to be said about that, because there are so many gimmicky gadgets with guitar, and I think that this one has a place in the artistic arsenal. Now, as I've stated before, the pick part of it is great in a pinch, and it does work like a pick, but it's a little cumbersome to hold, so really I would only use it more for accent along with the bow part of it. But this opens up a whole different paintbrush for the writing process, which I do really enjoy with this, and that is something that can't be said about a lot of the gimmicky products that are out there. The one downside that I noticed, and you could probably notice in a little bit of the playing that I was doing, is that it's hard to do long intervals with this because of how short it is. I do understand why the length is what it is, because you want to be able to go in the strings as far as possible. And with your average acoustic, it's hard to go that far into it. Now, this being a jumbo, I still do have a little extra room, but if I push this through, I'm already maxing out. So the length, whereas it being a problem, there's not really a way around it to solve it. So I think that they did very well maximizing the length of this in its entirety. But all in all, I would highly recommend this. When I saw advertisement for it, it was one of those things where it did pique my interest, but at the same time I was like, really? But now that I have one in my hands and I can play around with it, I honestly really like this product, and I will be playing around with it a lot more. Being that I had limited time to play around with this, I still don't have a good feel for it. You really need a light touch in order to make those strings ring out, especially if you're playing multiple strings, because it does give you the ability to tilt it so that you can ring out 2 strings. But you got to get used to the motion of being able to get a light touch going in and out, because when you're pushing and pulling, you have 2 different angles of your hand, which does make it quite a bit of a learning curve. So this isn't one of those gimmicks where you can just jump in and do something with it. You have to really play around with it and get an understanding for the feel of this thing, because it does take a light touch to use it, much like you would with any type of bowed instrument. The other thing that is to be noted about this particular gadget is that it is rosin, and the rosin does get on your strings. Now, the reason why they send the cleaning cloth along with it is because you will then have to wipe down your strings to go to regular playing. Because if I were to switch to it right now and do finger style, that dust is getting on the tip of my fingers. So if this is going to be something in your arsenal, having the cloth with you would be highly recommended as well, so that you can give your strings a nice dust off before you start playing. But with that being said, it does come off pretty easily. As always, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Pickaso guitar bow. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned.